everyone, I'm the one Peter called Pervy Sage. Thanks for that, by the way. I love it, but I think Jiraiya did it better. Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for following us at the Psychosocial Club. I think Peter and Tori did a fantastic job kind of explaining why we're here. There's also an awesome post on our Facebook page that explains our goal and what we hope to accomplish with our little group. Today, I'm here to talk a little bit about triggers and what that means for people with mental illness. I know it's kind of become a joke lately, especially in the media. People are talking about triggers a lot, but they're using it more as a dismissal than as something that actually really affects people. And that's part of kind of like the stigma that we're trying to hope to dispel. Now I know just rambling on about it isn't going to do much, so I've got a few examples to kind of help explain what a trigger really is and why we have trigger warnings. So to begin with, let's start out with what a trigger is. A trigger is something that causes a physical and emotional response in someone. It isn't something that mildly offends. It's not something that can make you slightly upset. A trigger is something that actually sets off whatever you've got going on and makes it really hard to function. When I'm triggered, I go into a full-on panic attack and I cannot come down from it for a while. It interferes with my day. It makes it hard for me to work. I can't deal with people. It really messes things up for us. So we have trigger warnings to help people avoid those situations. I've got an example here. 3 different video games. As you know, we've got rating systems on not only games but movies too. Right here I've got Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Killzone. All 3 of these have different ratings, and along with the ratings, they've got this thing right next to it. Now in Kingdom Hearts, this one's rated E10. It says next to it why it's rated that. This one's got fantasy, violence, mild blood, and use of alcohol. So it's got that 10 on there saying people younger than 10 probably shouldn't play this game. Final Fantasy is rated T for teen for mild blood use, mild language, suggestive themes, and violence. And Killzone is rated, if I can hold on to it, M for mature because of blood and gore, intense violence, and strong language. Now, some of the stuff in these games could be considered a trigger for people. Someone who's been to war probably would not want to play this if they don't want to remember being at war. People who've been in violent situations probably don't want to deal with violence again. Or people who have had other certain types of situations probably don't want to see it happen. So this little warning on here just lets people know that that's in there, so they don't go in there not knowing what to expect and then just having it thrown in their face. And that's kind of what a trigger warning is too. It just lets people know what to expect. So if I were writing a post about my personal struggles, I would let people know ahead of time that they're going to be hearing in detail stuff about violence and probably some other stuff I don't want to mention quite yet. But I would let people know ahead of time, and I'm going to make sure before I do go in and actually write out my story or talk about my story, I'm going to let people know what to expect and what I'm going to be talking about, because I know it can be a trigger. It's a trigger for me sometimes, but I also know that talking about it is therapy, and being able to get it out is also sometimes helpful. But something that helps me can also hurt others, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why we have trigger warnings. That's what a trigger is, and I hope this kind of helps explain a little bit more why we do what we do. It's not because people are overly sensitive. It is because it causes an actual real reaction, and it can really hurt people. And we don't want that to happen. I mean, the last time I was triggered really bad, I ended up in the hospital for 3 days. And that can interfere with people's lives, obviously, because for 3 days I wasn't at work, I wasn't at home, I was in a hospital, and I didn't talk to anyone except for my friends in the hospital. And I'm so glad I have them, but at the same time, I could have been home with my family, I could have been at work making money that I need to support myself. So it throws a bunch of stuff off, and we don't want that to happen to people. So, again, a trigger warning is not there just because people are overly sensitive. There are legitimate reasons to have them, and we want people to know what those are. So, thanks for watching our videos. We really hope that you stick with us. We're going to do some awesome things, and we're really looking forward to where things take us.